This week in the Regency, I'm back from holidays. I hope you had fun with the shorts that I left you, particularly the one with the whale. That was exciting. It's fashions for September. And I also want to tell you about an exciting video that I have at the end of the month, where while I was away, I got the chance to see real Regency fabrics, that is, pieces of fabric that were more than 200 years old, quite a few of them. And I'll be bringing those to you in the last video of September. So, London fashions for September. Now, obviously, Mrs. Bell, who gives the Belle Ensemble most of their fashions this in 1819. She did a lot of the costumes for the Prince Regent's Fancy Ball, which you remember happened in late July, and they were still talking about the outfits in August. Well, they're still talking about them. I suspect that the Prince Regent's Fancy Ball set off a fashion for fancy balls where people got dressed up. And so this Spanish fancy costume is still quite relevant. A Madrid robe of white gros de Naples fringed with gold, the fringe surmounted by points of ethereal blue satin. Now, ethereal blue was an actual color. It's not saying that the satin was ethereal, but that the blue is that ethereal blue. And ethereal means like of the sky. Corsage of the same color with short sleeves finished by light fringes. Castilian scarf of fine white net finished by open points of ethereal blue. That's the bits that are coming down together. Small dress hat to answer the scarf. I love that that phrase. The scarf says something, the dress hat answers it. Placed backward. Now, that does not mean backward in the way one would wear a baseball cap backwards. It means back on the head. And discovering, meaning revealing, a wreath of blue flowers with pistils of pearls. So this answers one of the questions we've been asking, which is, are these flowers real? And clearly they are not real if they have got pearls in the middle of them. Negligee necklace and earrings of pearl. And I thought, what on earth is a negligee necklace? Particularly because what she's wearing doesn't seem to fit the contemporary definition. So the contemporary definition of a negligee necklace is one where you have things coming down from it. So you have, it's worn lower, and you have pieces coming down, hanging from the main part of the necklace. And if we look very closely at this one, we can see that there are tiny little dangly bits. So I think we're seeing the negligee necklace in its infancy, and the dangly bits just keep getting longer over the years. Bracelet, glove, tops of hair fastened with pearls of cameo medallions. Can't really see those, but so a cameo is where one cuts through one layer of stone to reveal a darker layer, typically, so that you have a white picture on a dark background like this one. So pearls of cameo medallions, I think here we are talking about pearls around cameo medallions. White satin shoes with pale blue rosettes, carved ivory fan. What makes this Spanish? I have no idea, except possibly the Madrid robe. So if anybody wants to let me know, I would love to know what makes this a Spanish fancy costume, and whether it is in fact like a Castilian costume or Andalusian or whatever. Presumably Castilian, given it has a Castilian scarf, but or is this just an English dressmaker's idea of what Spanish ladies wear? We come down to earth a little bit more for our second dress. This is a public promenade or summer visiting dress. Okay, so as opposed to a walking dress or a morning dress, this is you're getting dressed up to show off. Summer rose-coloured, so rose is still fashionable at this point. Summer rose-coloured sarcenet slip under an India muslin robe. So India muslin, most muslin at this point is coming from India, and I think this means it was a plain muslin rather than, for example, a sprig muslin with a demi-train. So quite fancy for a promenade. You'd have to either hold it up or be prepared to only wear it once because it would get dragged on. Trimmed around the border with fine muslin in large full plaits. Spencer of Grosvenor, Naples. Narrow double ruff of fine lace. White transparent bonnet. So we're moving out of the summer months where you really need a straw bonnet to stop yourself getting freckles, and into part of the year where the sun is not so strong. Finished around the brim with fine blonde, that is lace, and surmounted by a full bouquet of different flowers. Now here I think they're actually real flowers because they're not specifying them. Lemon-coloured kid gloves and white kid half boots. So this is an outfit to impress people with. What I think is really interesting is over the last few months we have seen a real concentration on the hem. So when we look at the hems of the last few months, we can see that they're all quite elaborate, heavily worked in one way or another, and often quite differently worked. So we're not just seeing lace flounces here, we're seeing quite complex sculpture of the hem. And that's clearly one of the things that distinguishes the summer period of 1819. So that's not a complicated one this week, but very pretty. I think both of those would be quite fun to wear, particularly I think the Spanish costume looks quite cool and pleasant to wear. And if one can turn up to a party in something that's cool and pleasant to wear and still look fabulous, well, that's the best of all. That's this week in the Regency. I'm Elizabeth Layden. I'll see you next week in the Regency.